Voy a Jerusalén, allá está mi compañero Sale Mergui para que nos dé los últimos detalles tras el fin de la tregua. Sal, por lo visto, pues continúan los bombardeos, no solamente en el norte, no solamente en el norte, sino también en el sur, y al final, pues Israel dice esto no va a parar, esto es hasta cumplir todos los objetivos. Adelante, Sal.
Así es, Rey, la segunda jornada de la guerra desde el fracaso de la prórroga de la tregua este viernes por la mañana ha estado marcada por, en primer lugar, la ampliación de los ataques aéreos israelíes en el norte y sobre todo en el sur de la franja de Gaza, en la zona de Han Yunes, también por la última andanada de cohetes reivindicado por Hamas hace una hora contra el centro de Israel en Tel Aviv y, por supuesto, con el colapso de la mediación, de la negociación en Qatar para intentar este alto el fuego que se reanude. Digamos que la clave ha sido, como tú decías antes, este comunicado de Israel cuando el líder, el jefe del Mossad, David Barnea, ordenaba a su equipo desplazado desde ayer en Doha, en Qatar, que regresara inmediatamente a Israel después del fracaso y después de lo que Israel acusa a Hamas de no haber liberado las 15 jóvenes, 15 mujeres y 2 niños que había pactado Hamas en el acuerdo mediado por Qatar, Egipto y Estados Unidos, que fue lo que posibilitó la tregua del pasado viernes 24 de noviembre. Hamas, por su parte, acusa a Israel de no querer ampliar la oferta, digamos, de categoría en el sentido de rehenes para poder liberar, por ejemplo, a ancianos, a personas de mayores de 65 años a cambio de los presos palestinos. Y como tú decías, una cosa importante lo que ha pasado hoy ha sido que Salah Harouri, uno de los principales líderes de Hamas, hoy está situado en Beirut, ha endurecido la posición de Hamas. ¿Por qué? Pues en primer lugar ha dicho que no hay negociación y que la habrá solo cuando habrá un canje de rehenes, de presos palestinos en Israel, con los presos o con los rehenes que tiene en la franja de Gaza, solo cuando haya una tregua definitiva, es decir, algo que Israel se niega, porque como tú decías, Israel tiene como objetivo, en primer lugar, acabar completamente con el brazo armado y también con el régimen, con el gobierno de Hamas en la franja de Gaza. Y después, el otro objetivo es que en la franja de Gaza no haya una amenaza hacia las poblaciones limítrofes con Gaza en el sur. Decíamos, Israel sigue su ofensiva, sobre todo aérea, cuando aún hay combates en el norte de la franja de Gaza y, según dicen varios analistas, el gran objetivo ahora mismo de Israel es presionar a Hamas con una posible incursión terrestre en el sur, en la zona de Han Yunes, y al mismo tiempo no da espalda a esta negociación para liberar más secuestrados. Por supuesto, Hamas se niega, así que estamos ante unos próximos días de fuertes bombardeos, también de proyectiles de Israel y, sobre todo, la calma no se ve en el horizonte. Sí.
Aid finally trickling back into Gaza through the crucial Rafah border crossing in Egypt after Friday, where the Palestinian Red Crescent Society said Israeli officials allegedly prohibited any aid coming in until further notice. It took the intervention of U.S. officials to have that aid flowing back again. The Palestinian Red Crescent confirming that 100 trucks got in on Saturday with food and water, relief supplies, medical supplies, and medicine that is destined for a strip that's been badly devastated. About 80% of the population right now completely displaced, and they don't have any basic necessities. You hear from this 80-year-old man who has given up on life completely.
There is nothing left to fear for. Our houses are gone. Our property is gone. Our money is gone. Sons have been martyred, some died, some handicapped in the hospital. What is left to cry for? And then they tell us we will get aid. Where is it?
The devastation across the Gaza Strip has been especially difficult for so many orphaned children who are alone that a new acronym has come up to describe them. Wounded child, no surviving family. Unicef now saying the Gaza Strip is the most dangerous place in the world to be a child. They will need a lot of help going forward. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has met with regional leaders, the leaders of Qatar and Egypt, on the sidelines of the COP28 summit in Dubai. And the Egyptian readout specifically calls out the targeting of civilians, what they call collective punishment, and finding a way to make sure that civilians are not targeted and more aid comes in. Here's the Vice President.
Our work is ongoing to support some ability to reopen the pause and to have a deal going forward where there will be a pause so that we can get hostages out and get aid in.
I've been to the Rafah border crossing and seen just hundreds of trucks that were waiting to get in before the truce expired. The aid may be trickling back in, but the UN says this is still a drop in the ocean. One UN official has said they would need 200 trucks coming in continuously for 2 months to meet the needs of the people in Gaza. But also US officials say the next stage has got to be commercial goods being able to come back into Gaza. And they're discussing with Israeli officials about how that would happen even if the fighting were to continue. There is no announcement on that as yet. Larry Medowa, CNN, Cairo.
Israel carried out a series of devastating strikes on northern Gaza Saturday, striking a multi-story building in the Jabalia refugee camp. Witnesses say more than 100 people, many of them displaced, were inside the building at the time. Doctors report dozens were killed and many more remain under the rubble. Earlier in the day, the Arabic spokesman for the Israeli military over social media had instructed people to leave immediately areas east and north of Gaza City, including Jabalia, but it wasn't clear if anyone got the message. Later, there was another massive strike on the Shajaiya district, whose inhabitants had also been instructed to leave. Again, dozens were killed. Israel's war to eliminate Hamas recommenced Friday morning with renewed fury, and there has been no let-up since. Saturday, some aid did make it into Gaza. The Palestine Red Crescent Society reported that around 100 trucks crossed over from Egypt, carrying food, water, relief assistance, and medicine. Good news to the living. It won't make much difference for the dead. I'm Ben Wiedemann, CNN, reporting from Jerusalem.
And speaking about that, James, you recorded a video and posted it on social media. It's gotten some traction describing what you're seeing in Gaza, in particular with the children. Let's watch that real quick.
More children with the wounds of war, with the burns, with the shrapnel littering their body, with the broken bones. Inaction by those with influence is allowing the killing of children. This is a war on children.
Limited food, water, medicine, this is what you're describing, just chaos. How do you live like that? What is the mood from these people you're speaking with?
Utter panic. I've just been in a hospital with bombardments going on all around. I must say, as I was there, 10 children came in with the wounds of war, 10 maybe in a couple of hours, with horrendous wounds, with shrapnel to the brain, with eye injuries, with third-degree burns. It is a war zone, that hospital. So there is panic among the people, absolutely. It changes every hour here. People don't know where to go. They are almost in a trance. Children in the hospital, Isabel, are grabbing me. Mothers are grabbing me saying, take me somewhere safe. A little girl held me, and I tried to take a moment always. She just had 2 empty water bottles. She's in a hospital. Please, can you put some water in them? The water in the taps, it's salty, she can't drink it. So it's utter panic. People are being told to move from A to B. It's like a chess game, except that it ends in the death of children. It's not a game for them. The safe zones, I think, Isabel, is so important. It's a false narrative, and it's a dangerous narrative. People don't have the transport, they don't know where they're meant to go. They're places in the desert, they have no water, they have no food, they have no protection in these places. And so when they get there, disease stalks, and when they quite often get to these places, they are bombed. It's a very dangerous narrative that's being shared. They are not safe zones, they will be zones of death.
Right, and let me give a little bit more context on that. You're speaking about those flyers that the IDF dropped with those numbered zones telling people to go to safe areas. But based on what you're saying, it sounds like there is no safe area for them to go. And also, they were QR codes in Gaza where internet connection is spotty, so even getting that map is questionable.
Oh, spot on, Isabel. There is no internet access. You might get Wi-Fi if you're in a home. There's no 4G or 3G, 5G. So people get these things, and then 5 minutes later there is a bomb, or on the way they're going there is a bomb, and they've already, remember, these people had their homes bombed in the north and saw a family member, a sister, a mother die. Then they moved to a shelter which probably got bombed. They've come down south. There is a panic among people here that they simply now do not know where they're meant to go to.
Yeah, and Netanyahu has said that the war will continue, and so, quote, we achieve all of our goals. What do you make of that, and what does that mean for Palestinian civilians?
Devastation. The world has to now be aware of the scale of this. We're at 6,000 children killed, more now. There's no doubt some of the children I saw this morning, the severity of their wounds, Isabel, they will not make it through the day. Many children there. So the idea that it continues, a war on children to continue whilst the world watches, I think we have to accept now in a civilized society, those democracies that have a say here, that silence is complicity. And they need to look into the eyes of mothers who've lost the ability to protect their children, of young students and the brilliant brains that I encounter all the time who are utterly fearful. They have to accept that they are allowing the death of these people. As you and I have spoken, there's been another 2 very large bombardments, Isabel. It is probably the most intense day we've seen. Certainly it's the most intense day the South has seen, which is another narrative we've heard, that we are told, governments, will not possibly allow what to happen in the South has happened in the North. Well, it's happening in the South. I can bear witness to that.
Desde ayer a las 4 de la tarde me parece que sucedió esto, que se empezó a dar la noticia pues a nivel internacional, que existía una mexicana dentro de este grupo de 8 personas que se había liberado. Pues inmediatamente nos pusimos muy alegres, y sobre todo por las declaraciones de la canciller, en donde comenta que lo que sigue es buscar la negociación de Orión, ¿no? Como sabemos, Orión estaba ahí en un festival, es promotor del arte huichol, es promotor de la música electrónica, y le gustaba viajar por el mundo, y lo que estaba haciendo era disfrutar un momento de fiesta, digamos, con sus amigos. Festival de la Paz, que se convirtió en el Festival de la Guerra, que ya son más de 50 días, pues ha sido terrible todo este proceso en el que hemos estado trabajando y tratando de hacer ruido para que nos hagan caso y que se escuche que hay todavía un mexicano allá. Afortunadamente, pues nos acabamos de enterar de que la otra mexicana ya ha sido liberada, lo cual pues nos llena de gusto y nos da pues una luz, ¿no?, de esperanza en creer que, bueno, Orión va a ser ya liberado próximamente en algún intercambio de rehenes.